You're telling me this website has 1 million orders?
1 million orders in under 7 years.
If you spend $100 to acquire a customer, you're probably going to keep them for a decade because they're loyal to your interface.
New York Times article, do I need to worry about microplastic in tea bags? Well, I'm using AI for like 30% of my workload.
It's the OpenAIs, it's the DeepSeek, like they're becoming a dime a dozen. I don't even talk about Google anymore. Like, I don't know how people sleep with how many cool things are happening right now.
Damn, it's going to be a different world. The first idea that I want to talk about, so you sell on Shopify. You're a fellow Shopify owner or e-commerce store owner. Whenever I see the Shopify plaques go out, do you have one of those? Like one of the little, like, you sold 10,000, 100,000,
Right
a
there.
million orders? Yeah, I'm behind you.
That's right.
Nice. Yeah, flex on the
There,
camera.
yeah.
Yep. Okay. So you got the $100,000 order plaque. Whenever I see one of those go up on social, I instantly think to myself, what is a derivative of this idea that should be launched or done? I just saw one on Twitter last month for one with 1 million orders, and it's Send a Friend. Have you heard of Send a Friend? Have you ever seen this business at all?
Oh, I don't think I have, but I can just tell I'm going to love it.
Sendafriend.co. It's the simplest business ever. So it's got it either between, if I had to imagine, it's probably got like a $45 to $55 AOV. And it's stuffed animals in a box with custom greeting cards, and you can send them to friends, family, whatever. This is crazy to me because I wanted to start a business just like this basically during COVID when the world was shut down, and I was like, people want to probably like send each other like little gifts or fun things during this time of the year when everything's shut down and each one like be friendly with someone. Such a good giftable product that I would imagine probably is not even that seasonal. And so I'd love to riff a little bit on like, what are alternatives to this exact style business of a gifting $30 to $50 price point, right? Like you hear of edible arrangements all the time. You think of like, florist stuff. Now it's stuffed animals. What are other things that kind of fall into this category?
What about gifting plants to people?
Yep.
Like, plants are a lot more shippable than people might think. Oh, geez. Well, what could be the angle there? I mean, it could be the same thing. You send it with a gift card, and it's just a plant.
So the other one too is like on this occasion-based stuff. So the plant to me is awesome because that's like a great housewarming gift. You get a new home, you move into an apartment, whatever. All right, let me send you a plant. Let me send you a candle. Let me send you, a new front doormat or whatever like that. And how many people move into a new home each year, which creates like a marketable moment for the send a blank. In this case, it's Send a Friend. Somebody gets sick, you send it. I'm on their collections page right now. And if you scroll down, it's self-care bundles, dog bundles. Like I think even having a send a treat would be cool. Like whether it's kids who are in college who miss their family dog and want to like send a treat and a new chew toy to their animal, or your family friend just got a new dog and you're like, you're probably going to need a new leash. Let me send something to make it a special moment. Occasion-based marketing like that, I feel like could go really far.
Occasion-based marketing. Did you just make that up?
I did. I bet it's not. I bet there's a better term for it.
No, that sounds very smart. So you're telling me this website has 1 million orders?
1 million orders in under 7 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Holy crap. And it's all Facebook ads. I mean,
it's 100% Facebook ads. But the thing I'll call out on this is that it's 1 million orders. I think my research, I think they did 7 million last year. So just to do the napkin math live here, 7 million with a $50 AOV is 140,000 orders. So I think, they probably actually did more than that, or their AOV is lower.
How do you make money at that? I mean, a $50 AOV with something like this, with what are the cogs on this? $10, and then you got shipping. Like,
yeah, if I had to guess, maybe there's higher amounts. Like I'm looking even through here now, there are $88 bundles. $82 bundles over here with like a hat and stickers. Like it's all pretty lightweight.
I wonder what the repeat purchase rate is.
I think it's probably got to be a high repeat purchase. I also think there's probably a huge referral program in place. And honestly, like I know there's another company, Bump Boxes, which does like maternity based stuff. I think actually you and I were in the same like mastermind-ish thing with them back at that Club
Oh
LTV thing a while
yeah.
ago. He was in it. And they have a huge
Yeah.
funnel from pregnancy subscription boxes all the way to, I'm pretty sure, selling insurance on the back end. So I don't know if there's like a full
Oh
playbook here that other people
gosh.
could follow as
So
well,
smart.
but yeah. All right. Well,
Well, it's so
that
smart because
is
it's all time driven.
100%. That's
Like
Send a Friends.
just setting up Clavio flows.
Yep, exactly. That is Send a Friends first segment here. What do you want to riff into next?
Okay, so I just can't get ChatGPT wrappers out of my head. Like like with DeepSeek coming out, I just feel like there's a lot of value for ChatGPT wrappers. And I just saw this startup out of Silicon Valley. They just raised 50 million and it's just an agent. It's like a sales agent that goes out and finds leads for you. But it's a wrapper. Like wrappers are raising 8 figures. There's a lot of value in wrapper. And so I'm going to think super base level, the most obvious, dumb, like seemingly dumb on the surface idea ever. And it's simply an iPhone app that is a ChatGPT wrapper that's just a personal life assistant. And what's the unique value proposition? It has really big font, really big text, and you're pushing ads at anyone over 55 years old. And these are people that don't know ChatGPT. Like it's just easy for them to read. It's just a wrapper. And in maybe $5 a month, $60 a year, something like that. What do we think?
I love it. So I was sitting next to a I was sitting next to an 83-year-old woman on the plane back to New York a week ago, and she mentioned to me that she pays for Apple Care, or which I'm pretty sure is, I forget what it is. Like there's some service that I think Apple offers that will allow you to speak with a genius remotely. Is how it
Okay.
works. And then she'll go to like monthly trainings on how to use her device better. And I was like, first of all,
Mm-hmm.
you're awesome. And second of all, like she would be a perfect demographic for this, where every time that you have a problem or a question, rather than having to call up your son or go to the Apple Genius appointment, you can immediately get answers. I think my question would be, can you've used the operator stuff way more than I have. Can they touch the actual screen of your device? Like, will they be able to say, hey, how do I call my, how do I open up and post a photo on Instagram? And will it walk you through it, or does it give you prompt instructions?
No, it's not there yet. And that's not even like, I'm literally just talking about ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just chat. It's just a chat bot for old people that has really big font, easy to read. That people that don't know about ChatGPT, or maybe they do and they want something a little more user friendly. It's all based on the theory that interfaces win, right? If everything's a wrapper, then interface loyalty is a thing. If you spend $100 to acquire a customer, you're probably going to keep them for a decade because
Mm-hmm.
they're loyal to your interface.
Mm-hmm. So explain this to me, because I think I saw a tweet and I didn't get to read enough about it, but you've been deep down these rabbit holes for the last couple of weeks here. And the tweet said, with the rise of DeepSeek now or whatever, everyone's realizing that wrappers were actually the only valuable thing this entire time, and that like
It was
the
Greg
platform itself
Eisenberg.
doesn't matter. Is he the one that wrote that? Okay, so
Hmm.
I don't. What does that mean? Like to like dumb terms. I didn't understand that.
So it's like the knock on wrappers is that they're commoditized. There's nothing unique or special about them. But what we're learning is the commodity is the model. It's the open AIs, it's the DeepSeek. Like they're becoming a dime a dozen. Like just because of this new technology, everyone's learning how to create their own LLMs faster, better, and more efficiently than ever. And so the value is in the marketing and the interface and the community, like a community driven product, and the loyalty and just the habits, like first principles. Like I am like Sam Thompson, Sam, he's
Hmm.
building a wrapper that's just like an AI chef assistant, and it's just ChatGPT, right? It's not even
Mm.
trained on a model, but his thesis is like, we're moving away from the mom blogs where you have to swipe through all these ads and preamble, and it's just going to be a chatbot that helps you cook your stir fry better.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
once someone becomes accustomed to using that, they'll use it forever, even though ChatGPT does the same thing.
So I think that I love that, and I think that also from a distribution standpoint, that probably will be what wins. Um, I think I think selling technology to old people sounds hard. So I'm curious what that would look like. but I do think selling it to young people would work. And I'm thinking from the standpoint of, I had a conversation with family friend the other night, and she was a teacher, and I was like, how do people like, do people do homework anymore? Do people need to do homework anymore? Like, you have kids in school, like, are they doing homework at this point?
Hmm.
How does that work?
Yeah, they just do homework on paper.
But like, do they need to do the homework at this point? Like, if with Chat GPT existing, like, should you be giving kids iPads with a Chat GPT wrapper that is a homework tutor versus Chat GPT? That way they can't just take a photo and solve it, but instead, if they try to take a photo, they say, we're not going to give you the answer, but let's talk through how to work this.
That's a good question. I don't know. I know there are tools that like can detect if something was written with ChatGPT, but
Mm,
if a kid is sitting in class and he has to take an essay and he can't use his phone, ChatGPT is of no help. If it's homework, then he can use it. But like my oldest is 14, and he's the only one of my kids that has a phone, and so it's not really relevant to me yet. But what is interesting is my oldest does not use Google ever. And will he ever? Does he have a need to? He uses ChatGPT
because
for
he's,
everything. Yeah.
I would too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would too.
Like
That's cool.
I don't really use Google that much anymore unless I'm looking for something local. So why would my son? Because I don't even talk about Google anymore, you know?
Damn, it's gonna be a different world. All
It
right,
is.
I want another AI wrapper for this episode, but let's wrap that one up. I like the idea. I'm starting to get more nervous about every business that I could possibly run currently, and thinking of how should I be using AI into everything. So I like that, and I want to keep on riffing on more of those too. Um,
Dude, of all people, nervousness should be the opposite of what you feel right now. Like you are poised to capitalize and monetize all of this 6 ways past Sunday,
yeah,
regardless of what businesses you have today, right?
yeah, no, that's fair. I think the difference between you and I that I need to work on the mindset a little bit more is I think that you are more willing to look at your companies as like sandcastles in the sand of like, I build it
Mm,
up and I have fun and I'm willing, if the tide rushes in, I'm going to build another sandcastle. And in
yeah,
me, I'm trying to like build a sandcastle
that's
and then
fair.
like dig the moat in front of it so that way the tide doesn't hit it, and then like build up another little wall in front of it.
That's
And
healthy,
I'm,
and that is good.
yeah, like
You should be doing that.
both I think are good. I think it's a question as to whether or not it works in the long term. But I'm also getting more and more indoctrinated, I think, to your side, where I'm less tied to the things that I do that bring me money, and more
Yeah.
about seeking opportunity, which I think you've kind of always been about.
Well, and one thing interesting that I've just kind of realized this last month is my content and like my audience is the first moat I've ever really had a desire to build, right?
Mm,
Like I want to do with my content and my brand and my audience what Mark Zuckerberg has done with Facebook and what I've never done with a business. And that's just like all in, only this. There will always be tangential things that break off of this, but this is the thing I'm going to obsess over, analyze, look at metrics, and like do until the day I die, like he is with Facebook. My content is the first thing I've ever really felt strongly about doing that with.
yeah, you're going Mr. Beast for business content.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
love
love
that.
it.
I have a headline that I can guarantee is a $20 million e-commerce business by next year if somebody's listening to this and executes in real time. You ready for it?
Yep.
New York Times article 16 days ago. Do I need to worry about microplastics in tea bags?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I'll save you the article. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I know that there are so many alternative ways to steep tea. That being said, for everyone who's currently using tea bags and worried about health and thinking about that type of stuff, um, you want an alternative. And that alternative to me can be any form of material that is not going to put plastic into hot water and then straight into the bloodstream. And the reason that I've been so gung ho and just diving into this microplastic stuff over the last, honestly, month now, it's probably the hottest, like what you are for ChatGPT wrappers right now is currently the rabbit holes that I've been going down on
Mm-hmm.
microplastics. And I think a lot of the reason is because of seeing the case study that is Native deodorant and seeing that they sold $100 million deodorant business solely from the one insight that people do not want aluminum in their deodorant. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think finding a product that is highly consumable, whether that is in a apparel, whether that is in, even like there's a plastic lining on soda cans that nobody
Mm-hmm.
knows about or talks about, tea bags, like finding the microplastic alternative version of that and delivering a product there, I think can be a eight-figure, if not nine-figure opportunity. What do you think? Do you think it's
I've got my,
overhyped?
oh, dude, I just got a very specific idea as you read that headline. Okay. You ready?
Yeah. Yep.
So I used to have an e-commerce fulfillment business. We had a customer for a hot minute by the name of the Iron Fish. Okay. This is the most random thing you'll ever. This has like YouTube short written all over it. They literally sell an iron fish in like a box, and
I'm looking at this photo.
it's specifically for Indian cooking. It can be used for anything, but for whatever reason, like we want to have more iron in our meals, right? Iron is good for your body. And so you cook a
Oh,
curry,
that's crazy.
you freaking throw a metal fish in the curry and you get more iron out of your food. Who would ever think to like purposely put something inedible in your food while you cook it?
That
So
is so good.
you said the tea bag comment, and I thought someone needs to make a reusable tea bag made out of metal. And then I thought, why not iron? We need more iron in our diet. You could reuse it like a mesh, like a chain mail where you put tea inside of it and you let it steep.
So I don't know if you drink tea or you coffee guy. I know that you have your energy
I
drinks that you
drink
drink
tea
there
sometimes, but I'm an energy drink guy.
because they have like little metal pincher things that you can grab tea leaves with, but they're
Hmm.
probably some cheap aluminum. I think to your point, a really high-end version of that, which is more iron, no messy cleanup. You figure out that piece because that's probably the most annoying part with it if I had to guess.
Hmm.
Um, that's really cool. Is there another version of this that's not just iron
I don't know, but that could be a thing.
to
Aluminum
cook with?
fish. Just rub that thing all over your armpits.
Wait, what is this? All right, iron fish alternative. Um, no, this is like the thing. That's pretty crazy because I'm even thinking, can you find a way to cook with other? I'm thinking like a bath bomb of vitamins, and you put it into like
Mm.
I don't know if it's a crock pot or I don't know if it's like a stir fry thing, and then it'll slowly. It's flavorless. It doesn't taste like anything, but all of a sudden you're getting vitamin A, B, C, D,
Hmm.
all the way through Z in your diet on a daily basis. That could be interesting too.
A functional bath bomb.
A functional bath bomb.
That'd be a good
Yeah,
domain name to own.
don't buy it. What's your latest domain name that you just bought? Didn't you buy something recently?
Yeah, I bought nevercallagain.com. That's an
It's
idea we
pretty
could
good.
talk about.
Never call again. Is that the Chat GPT wrapper that you're going to be rolling out?
That is an AI voice wrapper where, I'll use a niche use case, but it could be as broad as you want. I'm engaged to be married, or I'm a wedding planner. I need to call a bunch of caterers. I need to call a bunch of venues to get the best quote. The more venues I call, the better quote I can get. I click a button on never call again. 5 minutes later, I have an email with quotes from hundreds of venues. 5 minutes later, because it's concurrently calling hundreds of venues in your area. And it's saying, hey, I'm an AI voice agent calling on behalf of Mallory. She's getting married on May 11th. She wants to have a meet and two sides. She's going to have 50 people there. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll relay everything back to her. And so it's like you get ahead of it saying, I'm AI. So there's no awkward, because there is going to be an awkward pause. And then like it's so much better than Mallory calling because A, she doesn't have to. B, it knows so much more than her about what a wedding should cost. It can negotiate for her. And so take that idea and insert it. Consumer, B2B, doesn't matter. Everyone hates calling, so never call again.com.
Okay, so I would say the V2 of this that you could probably even make more money because I love it. And eventually, what's going to be the weird world that we're going to live in is when this idea
AI
is
just
your
talks to each
AI
other.
calling another person's AI, and
We're
then
like a year away from that. Like it's not going to be
that's
that far
crazy.
away.
That's crazy. Um, well, I think the V2 of that I think can make a lot of money is that specifically for cost savings. So, it was kind of in the message that you just said there of calling around different wedding venues to try to find different prices and, whatever. Two examples that come up to mind for me. I'm currently trying to close on a real estate deal in New York right now. Something happened to the property and I need to renegotiate terms a little bit. I asked Claude, here's what happened. How can I handle it? And what can I use to negotiate? And Claude gave me a very good idea that I was not already thinking of. As far as like, here was the lever that I can pull that delays closing, saves me money, and makes sure that I don't end up getting
Mm.
screwed in this deal. I think either a large transactional like negotiation bot of, it's a plugin on a call. While you're on the call with a person, someone says this, and maybe like a meter goes left to the right of, we think they're bluffing a little bit, the leverage is more on your
Mm-hmm.
side. Here's how you can respond or don't respond, and just wait here for the next 10 seconds, like a live coaching one. I think it'd be really interesting. Or the alternative is it Bill.com, or what is the company that is basically an outsourced procurement department for your business? You know what I'm
Ooh,
talking about?
yeah, I do, but I don't remember which one.
It's some website where you can go onto it and upload all of the vendors and how much you're paying and whatever. And what I've quickly realized is I've gotten screwed by so many vendors because I signed the first contract that they send over thinking that
Mm-hmm.
that is the end all be all. But you can go on there and upload all of your information. And if you could have ChatGPT go through and Melissa or John or whatever alias they want to put together starts calling out to all of these individuals and companies or sending emails and being the internal procurement department. It's the reason that Walmart beats down on all the vendors that they work with. A, because they're Walmart and they have pricing power and distribution power or whatever, but they also have a 1,000-person procurement team whose only
Mm-hmm.
job it is to save the company money and get the best deal possible. Now you can have that same thing for your small business.
Dude, it is so funny you bring this up. I literally, like, I had a 37-minute call last night with one of the founders of, and
Mm.
I had not talked to him in a while. And the basis of that call was like, how can we save money on procurement? And I was just having this conversation like 2 hours ago, how like there's so many ways they could use AI, right? Like so many, like they have thousands of vendors and SKUs. And so, yes, like that needs to be
I,
a thing.
to give you something that you're probably going to cry about, but also to show you the other half of the world. I will not mention any names, but somebody in my life works at a legal firm, and I won't mention where. And they are sitting down with their IT department yesterday, and one of the senior attorneys, there was some small incident where one of the attorneys used AI entirely, didn't proof check it. AI made a mistake. They sent it out. They got in trouble with the client, supposedly like a very, very big no-no. One of the senior attorneys, this 80-year-old guy who runs the firm, basically goes, well, we should probably just ban AI from ever being able to be accessed on all of our computers.
Okay.
And the person that told me this story was like, well, I'm using AI for like 30% of my workload. And then, obviously the other 70%, they're checking and making sure it's right. And they're doing real lawyer work. But they're like, if we do this, we're screwed as a firm. Like it might be fine for the next 12 months, but then after that,
That's
every
so
other firm is
stupid.
going to adapt this technology. So I think sometimes in our world, it is constantly, grass is always greener and things are going to work out. But in a lot of other older, antiquated industries, it kind of makes you scratch your head as far as how long it's going to take for
Yeah.
this technology to truly get adopted.
Dude, it's like these cars are so dangerous. This thing goes 80 miles an hour, just killed someone. We only do it in horse and carriage from now on. Like,
Yep.
dude, I just talked to my brother-in-law last night. He just got a job at a $150 million company in the Southeast. Just your basic boomer-owned company. But we're talking it's a 9-figure company.
Yeah.
He says 90% of his coworkers, they may have heard about ChatGPT, but they have no idea what it is or what it does. 90%.
My dad is 60, and I showed it to him for the first time a month ago. Yeah,
It blows my mind. We're
me
in a
too.
bubble.
I know. But I'd rather be in this bubble than their bubble.
Oh, heck yeah.
The last topic, at least that I have, and then if you have anything else too, let's keep on riffing and keep on going. I've realized that I've now shared mostly e-commerce ones. So in a future episode, I'll do something a little bit different, but I'm going to finish up with one more e-commerce one just because I was shocked to find out how big this business is. And if you already know about this, I'm going to shift into a different business idea. Have you ever heard of House of Noah?
Oh, that sounds familiar, but I don't think so.
Okay, because I feel like if people are listening to this, they might just start saying I'm just naming popular brands, but I've never heard of it. That being said, I also don't think I would be in the demographic to hear about it. $100 million business. They sell play mats is like their flagship product. Play mats. Now they have, bath mats and standing mats and all of this stuff, but they're super padded kids play mats that are stylish. So like everyone's kind of, if you've ever built at a home gym and you're not just buying like the classic horse stall stable, big rubber mat types of things, you're getting the cheap styrofoam stuff. That's what this is, but like it looks nice. And like the material is slightly elevated compared to the classic plastic looking one. Have you ever thought that this could be $100 million business?
No, but I really like the framework of taking kind of a ubiquitous, generic child's product like high chairs and making an ultra premium or like plastic free version of that. Like, what a good idea.
So I mean, you're a dad, so you've probably gotten way more dad related ads than I have. Have you ever heard of? It's called a learning chair. I didn't realize that this is a thing.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, it's called a learning tower. Learning tower.
Mm-mm.
It is basically like, I guess I don't know what a high chair is entirely. It's a high chair like a
Where
just
you eat food in next to the table.
okay. So this is that, but they're standing and they are protected by a very small either piece of plastic or piece of wood. But the idea of it is that they are now able to, the kid is able to be at your kitchen table watching what you do. They sell for anywhere from $50 to $200 depending on the aesthetic. And
Cool.
they can be disassembled, easy IKEA furniture. Between that, House of Noah, and then what was the last one? The last one I found was like, I'm gonna get this name wrong. It's like a play couch. Have you, it's like Playagami or something like that. Where like they're modular couches that people can build
I've seen
and rearrange in a playroom if you have a playroom.
Mm-hmm.
I think kids' furniture is hot. It seems like a logistical nightmare to ship all of this stuff, but it seems like the type of thing that people are also willing to spend a ton of money on.
And I feel like parents are so eager to get kids away from screens that like anything interactive and touch feel is very hot right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the framework that's being applied to all of these things. So this one that just popped up, and I clicked their ad, Nugget Comfort, is like the modular original play couch is what they're calling it. $250 for basically a bunch of couch cushions that don't look the worst. And they could be corduroy or micro suede or whatever else. And then all of the other ones like the learning tower, the the play mat stuff, the classic trend seems to be what's the cheap thing that we had growing up. So either like black and white foam cushions, or it was like was it the Fisher Price, like like fully plastic things. Take all of those, whatever you can think of that was something cheap that you had growing up, and make a very nice elevated version of it, so that way it doesn't look like trash in your house.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, what about an entire kids brand built around no plastic?
Okay, again, let's bring it back to the microplastics. I think that putting a plastic bottle in your kid's mouth is going to be like the equivalent of smoking a cigarette when you're pregnant in a couple of years.
It's like, it sounds crazy, but it's not like anything plastic.
Yeah. I would be very concerned to be an oil company right now personally, or even just a plastic company. But here I am as a recruiting business owner in the age of AI. So who am I to talk?
Well, the thing is, I think plastics is like a small fraction of a percent of the oil industry. But I went and bought
I guess probably
I think so.
Makes sense.
I think it's like the 80-20 of it is like gas, like fuel and gasoline. And then there's like lubricants, plastics and all that in the 20%. But I bought 6 plastic domains like 3 years ago.
How many domains do you own right now?
Like 140.
And are they all on auto renew?
No. I routinely cull them, but I own, and none of these have anything on them, but I own nevertouchedplastic.com, plasticinblood.com, plasticinu.com, plasticyourblood.com, plasticyourbody.com, and useBioplastics.com. So
You
I
could
don't
probably sell
know.
some of those to Brian Johnson.
Freaking, he has microplastics in his crap, doesn't he?
I
Isn't
think
that
he
the
has a
controversy?
product that he sells. I don't know if he has the domain.
It's I'm saying like he gets a lot of crap because his products have microplastics.
Oh, do they? Oh, I would
Yeah.
be surprised if they do. You think they do?
Well, they do because it's like
Like the packaging?
literally impossible, yeah, to like get around it
Yeah.
in a lot of cases. If
Yeah, unless
nothing else, the packaging.
you're shipping in metal and glass Tupperware.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, the last one on this, like plastic-free IV tubing. This to me feels like the most no-brainer. If anyone was smart enough and wanted to like run through the logistical, bureaucratic, you know, medical device sales business that's out there,
Right.
60 to 70% of IV tubes are made with PVC and DEHP. And a lot of studies are linking those plastic tubes to microplastic and nanoplastic exposures into patient bloodstream. So, like, imagine you're fighting for your life, you're on life support, and all of a sudden they're putting plastic directly into you. Which, again, maybe we're making, I think a lot of this stuff is exposure for longer term. So I don't think we all know that, stuff's not going to kill you right off the bat. But it is pretty crazy to think that that is still made with the material that it is today.
It's crazy, but I bet like if we knew more about the logistics of it, we would realize how difficult it would be to find an alternative that just works. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? That's affordable
Yes.
also. I think in any setting though, like hospitals can freaking afford to pay a little more for their tubing, whereas a lot of
Hmm.
other settings and businesses could not. Like it reminds me of food. Like we all like what is it? Sweet green. Like they're not profitable. Like
No?
what we say and what we do are completely different things. Like everyone wants a salad, but we don't want to pay more than $10 for it.
Yeah.
But then there are some industries that have the margin to really afford to be able to swap out, a $5 plastic IV tube with a $30,
Hmm.
healthy IV tube. But I would just think it's logistically difficult, but it's an inevitability that there will be no plastic IV tubing. It's just a question of who's going to tackle that and when and how much will
I
it
agree.
cost.
Cool. All right. I feel like we covered some good stuff today. What else? Anything
Cool.
else in your brain has like idea wise aside? Just I feel like you're all in on the AI operator agent stuff right now. Is that right?
It is. It's just fun. It's just like I don't know how people sleep with how many cool things are happening right now. I have no interest in sleeping. One thing that was crazy to me was just yesterday I was using the operator. It was messaging people on the not.com about catering. Just like I'm not planning a wedding. I'm just
Yeah.
curious, right? And it's like very slow, it's very deliberate, and I was just like go faster. And it did. It just did. And I'm like, "Oh, this isn't a technical limitation. Oh, you can just do things. You can just ask AI to move faster and it will."
Damn.
Like
That's cool. Are you all right? Entertain me with your thought on this. Do you think this will impact U.S. labor more or overseas labor more on the onset?
overseas. I think the rich are going to get richer and the poor are going to get poorer.
That has kind of been my take, and I'm trying to like math it out of like, all right, does this suddenly mean that the best talent in the world that is not starting their own business gets paid less or gets paid exponentially more? I think exponentially more.
Exponentially more. I don't know why, but I'm thinking of Nick Saban, coach of former coach of the Alabama football team, made $10 million a year coaching a football team. How is that possible? Why? Okay, well, two. He drives billions of dollars to the university, and the second reason is because he does something that no one else can do. He has a unique set of skills. I feel like this is going to enable more people to be like Nick Saban because he's not going to be one in a million. It's just going to be technology that 8 billion people have access to.
And at the same time, too, I think in order to be that person, you have to upskill yourself to the nth degree. Like, I think my takeaway on this is that if you are a mid level, low level, or generally like a just get by type of employee, it's going to be a very tough world for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just like, I feel it's like gravity. Just like It's like it's like the third law of thermodynamics, right? Where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And that's been happening in the United States in our demographics. The middle class has been disappearing for a decade or two now. And I just say, take that same principle and apply it to technology and make a very deliberate decision in your life. What side of that equation do you want to be on? Because this has never been more accessible to anyone. Like they're just, forget wealth, for like ChatGPT is free. You don't need the $20 version. You don't need the $200 version. It's free to everyone. Like there are no excuses anymore.
Yeah.
Like just,
well, I will say, if you have the chance, listen to the Chris Sacca, Tim Ferriss episode that came out.
That sounds good.
It's probably the best podcast episode that I've listened to in the last 12 months. And it's so wide ranging on a bunch of ideas. It gives a slightly pessimistic view, not in the sense of like the future's going to be worse, but more pessimistic in the what do we do? And both of them are very smart people, and they're both kind of like, I don't know. And they're both like, Chris Sacca's like, I think the example that he gave was that, 5 to 10 years ago, the very good parents are getting their kids into computer science and programming, right? Like you're a good parent if you like kind of persuade your kid to do that. Now he's like, I wouldn't do that. Like that's going to be a commoditized skill. And like that probably isn't necessarily going to be the most useful skill set. He's like, as far as what I tell my kids to do now, I don't fully know. And I think it's interesting that Sam Altman as well, kind of talk about how it's going to probably have to change a lot of societal standards. To your point.
I saw that clip.
Yeah, like to your point, more jobs will be created, absolutely. But to Sokka's point in this podcast, it was, all right, like I grew up in a town in upstate New York, and when the factory shut down that everyone was employed at, like bad things happen in society. Like bad things happen in society when people don't have work. And like if this changes that, like we need a new way to either get them involved or to figure something out. So not to end this clip on all doom and gloom, but like it'll be a very interesting world of like take advantage of it now, and to your point, get on the leading side of this. That way you can use it versus kind of being like replaced by it, I think.
Dude, I'm optimistic. Like
I know you are, yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's just going to be a net win. It's just going to be a net win.
I think it'll be good too. Like even one of my business partners, Gio, he was scraping all public town like transcripts. Like there's transcripts for like public meetings when like zoning decisions and permitting is being made. And he was like, I could just put the website in to, I forget what he was using. He was either using DeepSeek or Gemini or one of these ones. I'm not super familiar. And he's like, great, now I have a searchable database of all of this, and I can learn about all the big projects and the projects coming up. So like, I think the hard part that everyone's kind of sitting here with right now is not realizing how much it's going to enable people to do that were previously tasks that would require a 10-person team. We're now getting in 10 minutes or 10 seconds. And so that's going to, I think, break people's brains for a couple of years until we realize that everyone's kind of got these superhero abilities. And then it's going to be about having a lot of agency as a person to rise up and take advantage of that.
Amen. It's going to be a beautiful 10 years.
All right. Shout out your pod. Not that I get anywhere near the amount of listeners than you do, but people are still listening at this point.
It's the Koerner office, tkopod.com. You can find it all there.
Right on. One of the best podcasts. Love it.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.